Our top story tonight, some going down in November.
Wars, spending.
There has got to be something big a-brewing.
They're using geese to guard prisons in Brazil.
Does Biden know what
Immigration
Mexico
policies.
is? Would you scare Joe Biden? What are we laughing at?
I think Billy Mays was real.
I'm a world-class skeptic.
I don't know anything about Hunter Biden. I don't know who's big into cocaine and laptops. Why is that our problem?
Complete, absolute incompetence.
Like, who funds the news?
It's a freaking inside job, man. That the entire world's a stage and everything's fake.
Welcome back, boys and girls, moms and dads, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Touched Me Tuesdays on the Veritas Road. I am Carson, back with John. It's a very touchy Tuesday, folks. John just got back from being touched in the wild, and I've been touched a lot at work lately, so we're both feeling just raw and in a particular kind of place. So we're excited to be here with you all tonight. John abandoned me this past Wednesday. Went and did a show with Stacks, Drew, and Q on Stacks Farmstead channel. Guys, if you get a chance to go check that out, go give Stacks a follow. Their channel's fantastic, and they're trying to get monetized. So go follow them over on YouTube. If you like the show, want to support the show here at the Veritas Road, folks, give the stream a follow, give the stream a like, and go follow us on all the platforms with the Veritas Road everywhere. We're at the Veritas Road Pod on Twitter because our old account got just, and I think it was my fault. So that's a different discussion. And then, guys, if you like the show, want to support the show, want more of the show, go check out the Patreon. We have cool stuff over there, and you'll get some stickers, okay? And everybody likes stickers. So go check out the Patreon. Get in where you fit in over there. You can join the Discord chat, which is mostly just a bunch of links and some people talking. But you can be a part of that. You can be a part of the Veritas Road family, and John can be your mama. And I don't think there's anything more anybody wants than that. Honestly, I think that's what I want out of life. I think that's what most people want out of life. So go take a look at the Patreon and join if you like it. We don't have any dates to announce presently, I don't think. John, do we have anything that we need to talk about coming up?
Not presently. More to come probably
Okay.
next week.
Yeah, we've got some to work out this weekend, hopefully. But we will get back to you guys on dates and guests. Hopefully we'll have some scheduled sooner rather than later. So I guess we'll just jump right in.
Well,
Yes.
go over to Andrew's channel. He just dropped our episode that we did with him last week and a half ago. So
6G
go check
agenda.
that out. Yeah. So it was a good time.
Yeah, we talked to Andrew over at 6G Agenda about some terrain theory, a little bit of clone discussion there, mixed in with a lot of Andrew talking about things I don't yet understand. And so I learned a lot on that show. It was really good. So go check out his channel, give him a follow, because you'll learn a lot listening to his show. You really will. It's entertaining, and it's got a lot of good information. So I highly recommend checking that out. He knows a lot of shit. So check his channel out, guys. Go
follow Spotify, because I'm uploading an episode right now, and it just told me that we should have 275 followers, and we have 81. So Spotify just randomly.
What does it base that on?
I don't know.
Why do we know?
Spotify just randomly will tell me, it's like, hey, you suck, when I go in and upload episodes. So
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Is Spotify shaming us?
I don't know. So
Is
go
it
give that a
viewer
follow.
shaming us? That's unfortunate. So, guys, a couple of things as we get the show started. First thing I want to talk about. I turned 32 very soon, and we happen to mention that my birthday's coming up at in my training class at work, and one of the ladies I work with, I asked her if she was doing anything this weekend. She said no, because August is her birth month. And you can imagine what this woman looks like just based off of that statement alone. Like you can imagine the plumpness, right, that she exudes when you hear that August is her birth month, so she won't be doing anything over the weekend. She's too busy with whatever middle-aged woman activities she's taking part in. But this is something I've heard more and more, specifically middle-aged. I'm like, I get it if it's like a 16-year-old girl who's obsessed with, I don't even know what 16-year-old girls are obsessed with these days, like BTS, Justin Bieber. I don't know what they're interested in, but that's what I imagine they're interested in, stuff like that. Yes, septum piercings and colored hair, Neff Hunter. That's what these girls are interested in these days. And probably boy bands. Are boy bands still a thing, John? I'm really not sure if boy bands are still a thing. Point being, this woman said, I'm not doing anything Saturday because it's my birth month. I'm going to be celebrating. And I've run across so many middle-aged women that celebrate their birth month. I don't know what kind of stamina these women have for being obese and drinking, but this kind of just fat, entitled, middle-aged lady behavior is intolerable. You think you're so important, you need a full month out of the year to celebrate your fat ass coming out of your mother's vagina. You think you need a full month? That is, I don't even like having the day. I try to avoid people that day. It makes me uncomfortable. I don't even like talking about it, mainly because my family's insane and I'm trying to avoid them. I don't mind other people talking to me about it, but I feel obligated to spend time with them. That's a different discussion. We can talk about that in therapy. But the point being, I don't understand why these middle-aged women, and race isn't even a factor here. I've heard it from all races of middle-aged women. Plump middle. They're always plump. Just very juicy middle-aged women. To me, it's just representative of this kind of generational narcissism that's crept in. I mean, if you're Mimi, if you're Gam Gam, if you're Mamaw, ever said that, I think most of us would be shocked. You're not going to hear an 85-year-old blue hair saying, I'm celebrating my birth month. No. You know why? Because she was used to being beaten every day of the year but her birthday, and she was too busy mothering children for most of her life and working her off to feed the family with the $12 her husband brought home from his job. She was too busy to celebrate her birth month. There are no Gam Gams celebrating their birth month. You know what they're doing? They're losing their minds, having Alzheimer's in a nursing home because they fed you too much margarine when you were a kid. That's what they're doing, okay? No Gam Gams are celebrating their birth month. I look up to these women. They're phenomenal, okay? But I don't understand this kind of weird narcissistic behavior that's crept into culture these days. I mean, John, do you celebrate when's your birth? It's your birthday's in like December or some. Do you celebrate your birth month? Do you celebrate the full month?
No.
What do you think about these women that feel entitled to celebrating their entire birth month? I mean, it's very important, right?
No, I mean, I kind of agree with you. It definitely is. It is a semblance of some type of cultural decay, 100%.
Right.
The fact that that's something that's becoming more and more popularized.
It's so weird. And it's the kind of thing, like I said, it's the kind of thing I expect from like a 15-year-old, not a plump 48-year-old mother of 5, you know?
No.
Like, shouldn't you be focused on other shit? Like, not dying from diabetes, you know? Shouldn't you be focused on something else? It just seems odd to me that these women are so obsessed with themselves. They want a full month to talk about how they turned 50 and they're morbidly obese and their life is going downhill. Like, you're that obsessed with yourself that you want to spend a month focusing on that? Another year of failure? Like, sorry, I digress. Anyway, in other news, John and I kept trying to make plans, folks, to go watch Disclosure Day, and John kept bitching out on me. So I went and watched it over the weekend. There was all this talk about how Disclosure Day was going to be. John, have you seen it yet?
No.
Okay, there was all this talk about how it was going to be this like big conspiracy thing, right? And there was going to be all this religion talk in the movie. I think I don't think I can put this. The guy we're about to listen to is a little bit cringy. He's an old man with a goatee and long hair, and that's bad enough already. But I think I don't know that I can make this any more rational than the way he puts this. This is only my second time listening to him, so we'll see if I agree with him the second time around. Let's listen here.
Intelligent life in the universe. Please keep in mind that this is a story written by.
Stand by, folks. John, this is going bad already. I can't drag the there we go. All right.
There appears to be a little bit of a dust up over Steven Spielberg's claim that some people will question their faith after seeing Disclosure Day. But the only moment in the film that addresses that whatsoever is when a young nun, former nun, is talking to an older nun and says that Genesis expresses that humankind is God's supreme creation. So, and inferring that there couldn't be other life in the universe because we're it. And the older nun corrects her, saying what the Bible actually says is that
now this part that you just said is kind of
supreme creation on earth. And then she goes on further to express that she believes that there is other intelligent life in the universe. Please keep in mind that this is a story written by and then the screenplay was written by another person, a man, and they're just doing it for a movie, for drama's sake, to get you to go and pay and see a movie. The fact that there's even a discussion about this online is kind of ridiculous. Watch and
okay. So I don't totally agree with the concepts this guy puts forth, but I think that last bit is right on the money. Like the fact that we're all talking about this online, or everybody was for a little bit, is kind of ridiculous. Like there was all the hype around it was, I'm not going to say it was like fake, but like there was a ton of hype around it, very obviously to draw people's attention to this movie that was coming out. And then there were all these fingers pointing at that statement. Spielberg came out and said like, this movie is gonna shake Christians' faith in God or whatever. And it was one of those things where it seemed to be patently obvious that the media was trying to get you to pay attention to this thing. So I finally went and watched it alone on a Sunday afternoon. It was not a great image, guys, but I did. And and it was fine. Like it went into like spirituality and religion in a way that it probably didn't need to. But aside from that, like it was just a movie. The only thing differentiating this from anything else out there is all the, disclosure files that they put out recently. And honestly, really just all the hype about it on social media, on the internet, on Facebook, on all the places, on Twitter. And so I can't help but wonder if it was just purely manufactured drama, manufactured hype. Anybody's going to be interested in the Steven Spielberg movie, he's probably some kind of demon with prior knowledge of events. But beyond that, like it just seems odd how much attention this thing got, especially in the alleged truth community. Like why are we paying attention to this? We think they're going to plainly label like Disclosure Day. We're going to tell you real shit in this. That's so, I feel like should be so counterintuitive for most of us at this point. But I think there were a lot of people, myself included, that kind of fell into the trap. We're like, holy shit, what are they going to say in this? What kind of occult knowledge are they going to give us in this movie? Are we going to learn something? No, we're not. We're not going to learn anything. It's the same old play, distract with one hand while we do some other shit in the other. Now, I don't know what the other shit was. I'm not going to pretend to know. But in retrospect, it seems like one of the biggest red herrings. John, any thoughts? I realize you haven't seen it yet, but
yeah, I mean, I haven't seen the movie, but I definitely disagree with that guy's last take. Is like, it's not just a movie. Nothing in Hollywood is just as it appears. It's like these guys are all into a bunch of weird occult esoteric crap. What they tell you, the reality they live in is not the reality that you think they live in, right? So it's like when I think like, take Spielberg's comics for example, is like when he says this movie is going to make people challenge their faith in God or whatever, he might not be talking about his movie. right? He might be talking about the broader concept that his movie is introducing into the culture.
And
right?
that is, I think, probably closer to the truth.
Yeah. Like, right. Like what they put in front of you is not its actual meaning. It's all esoteric. All of it is, right? They live in a different reality. So you can't take them at face value at all. Right? Because it's like, I think we've established pretty well on their show that like, they don't care about money. They don't care about the fiat that, you know, makes this system go round. That's not their motivation. If that was their motivation, none of this would go the way it's going at all. So it's like you have to kind of look a little deeper.
Yeah. And I think where most people get hung up is this expectation of something obvious, something that's going to be earth-shattering next week when it comes to things like this that come down the pipe. I mean, people were waiting for it with this movie. People were waiting for it when the UFO files dropped. People were waiting for it during the World Cup. And I think one of the things that is becoming, I don't want to say more obvious, but I think one of the things that is becoming more clear over time is how slowly so many of these things happen. Like this concept that, you know, some movie's going to drop and reality is going to shift next week is rarely ever the case. Like occasionally there are these massive events. Corona was one of them, but typically these narratives play out over extended periods of time. I mean, long periods of time. And a lot of people get drawn up into this narrative of, oh my gosh, there's going to be some UFO event at the World Cup. Oh my goodness, there's going to be something that happens on the White House UFC fight night. Good heavens, there's going to be, but you're right. When you talk about like, maybe this movie isn't the big thing. Maybe it begins to introduce, to seed these concepts into the mass narrative that then begin to take root and eventually take shape later on. You know, we're not talking about a chess match that lasts 20 minutes. We're talking about a chess match that we're talking about a chess match that lasts years, decades, sometimes centuries.
Yeah, man.
And so I think you have to put comments like that, movies like that, things like that into perspective. Thanks, Not Nice Guy, by the way. Not Nice Guy read the stream. Thank you, sir. Good to see you in the chat. I think you've got to put things like that in perspective. But it's so difficult because there's all this hype driving people to this one focal point. You know, there's so much effort put into getting people to hyper focus on one thing. It's like if you're trying to drive down the road and all you're focusing on is like 3 feet in front of you. You know, eventually you're going to run into some shit.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on that, John?
No, I think you nailed it.
Fair enough. Speaking of all these narratives that are starting to, I don't want to say take hold, but all these narratives
starting November
to just piss people off. One of the bigger ones lately has been a flock. So there's been all this talk around flock. They've been putting up flock cameras, and I don't like them any more than anybody else. Like, I absolutely hate the things. Okay, I'm not trying to say that mass surveillance is good, but it does seem to me like there's a hell of a lot of energy being put into getting people to focus on not just these flock cameras, but the surveillance narrative as of late. Again, the whole surveillance thing, bad. Don't support it, okay? It all sucks. Let's get rid of it. But there seems to be a lot of attention focused on getting people to pay a hell of a lot of attention to it. And this video here is no different, in my opinion.
Starting November 22nd, lending your vehicle to anyone will officially be considered a federal offense. The new regulation goes into effect without exceptions, and only the person registered on the vehicle's documentation will be legally allowed to drive it. The penalty is immediate, a $1,000 fine on the spot with no warnings, no grace period, and no excuses, not even family emergencies. Authorities have already activated a nationwide verification system. Patrol units can now scan a license plate and instantly confirm whether the driver matches the registered owner. If they don't, the vehicle will be seized and the driver will be fined. Officials claim the measure is meant to bring more order and control to the roads, but millions of people are already calling it excessive, restrictive, and disruptive to everyday life. Beginning November 22nd, something as simple as letting your child, a friend, or even a neighbor borrow your car will automatically qualify as a serious violation. There will be no tolerance, no exceptions, no quick appeals. Every entry will be logged digitally, and any mismatch will be punished immediately. This new policy is about to impact millions of people quietly and abruptly. Share this message before more people.
Okay. So a couple of things here. First off, that this weird AI video. Well, shout out to Nefhunter for sending us this video. Thank you, sir. The first thing I thought of when I watched this was, we're not citing any statutes. There's no like court thing going on here. This appears to exist just to drum up fear and anxiety in people. And so there's really no way to tell if this is real or fake. We can start there. Like, there's no real way to tell if this is real or fake. That being said, this is not dissimilar from a lot of the other videos that are out on the internet talking about flock cameras, talking about these new surveillance systems that they're allegedly supposed to put in vehicles by like 2030 or whatever. Like, there are a million of those videos out there circling, all focused on like, they're going to be watching you. You're not going to be able to drive your car. Life's going to be terrible. You're not even going to be able to drive, you know? And yeah, that stuff is bad, objectively bad. Like, flock is obviously problematic for super obvious reasons. And, you know, nobody likes a big brother watching you. We're all aware of that. But if everybody was super worried about it, you wouldn't keep a damn phone in your pocket. Yeah, like, guys agree. Like, this is probably a fake video. But it's representative of a mass of other videos that aren't obviously fake, that are citing real alleged occurrences. And so, like, why are all of these people falling into this trap? There's so many just mullet-wearing freedom fighters out there who can't think of anything more fun to do on a Friday night than to get hard and shine a laser at a flock camera. I mean, that is what gets so many of these people off. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with a little vigilante justice, okay? That's fine. But at the end of the day, if you're worried about all of this mass surveillance, no part of me thinks engaging with it is going to help at all. At all. The bigger underlying problem is the fact that you've given over your agency to a system that's diseased. We can start there, right? But if you think going out and destroying things is going to fix the problem, I mean, you couldn't be more mistaken. Like, that's just another reason to crack down on the populace. We put up cameras, people tore them down. So guess what we have a reason to do now? Put up more cameras. The simple solution to this is just to disengage from all the, to completely and fundamentally disengage. Like, if we're going to play this whole, yeah, this shit's real, and it's a narrative where they're trying to surveil the populace and it's a problem game, sure, we can play that game. But the simple answer isn't to destroy the thing. It's to disengage with the thing. I mean, does that make sense, John? Any thoughts there?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of what you were talking about earlier. It's kind of target fixation, is they're kind of getting people all to, you know, fly in on this one thing. And, you know, that in and of itself is kind of a way of entrapping people, because if you get people like a common enemy, right, you can work behind the scenes without them actually noticing, because it's like they're all focused on trying to stop this one thing, right? And it's, again, it's understanding what, it's understanding the why, right? Like, they don't want your, mute that. They don't want to survey you just to know what you eat for breakfast in the morning, right?
Yeah.
Like, you have to understand, it's like, why do they want all of this information? Why are they trying to do these things? And I think when you start trying to tackle that, you kind of realize that like the narrative that they're kind of putting out in the media, this conflict narrative, is not necessarily right organic. You know?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think you're exactly right. Like the laser focus they're trying to manufacture isn't organic at all. I mean, we've seen it happen so much in recent history. Like I feel like when I was younger, it wasn't as common, like we had 9/11. And then several years later, we had like the housing crisis. And then several years later, like we had these different things that came along, and they got people hyper focused on those things, but it wasn't as compact. And now it feels like there's a new thing every like, I don't know, every like 6 months. There's a new thing they're trying to get people to hyper fixate on. We had Corona, right? And then we had the Ukraine, and then we had, and I don't remember what was after that. Now we're pissed at Russia, and then now we're pissed at Iran, and now we've got the hand job virus, and then we have Iran again, and then we have, people from eating Taco Bell. Why were we all focused on that? Like that's just a regular Tuesday. And so, but they're putting a lot of effort into getting people to hyperfixate on a concept. And yeah, I mean, maybe the end game is to get you to look over here while we're doing something over here. Maybe the end game is simply to capture people's attention so that they're not focused on any real shit. I mean, if you can get people to hyper focus on any one thing, I mean, think about what hypnotism is from just like a super base level mainstream perspective, right? I'm going to get you to hyper focus on a thing so that you then like essentially lower your state of consciousness and become super suggestible. This isn't far afield from that. Like we're talking about micro traumas. We get people fixated on a thing, and then they become a hell of a lot more suggestible to whatever narrative we want to push. I mean, to me, it seems like that's all this is. It's just mass psychology at work,
Yeah.
And they do it so often. And there's the folks who are pushing these narratives out are smart enough to at least switch it up often enough that you don't get bored. You know, there's like news that's along the same vein. Like this one here, another thing, but along
Grocery
the same
stores are now scanning your face at the door, checking it against the watch list before you've done a single thing wrong. It's a system called SaferGuard, and it's already running in grocery outlet stores across the Bay Area. The Electronic Frontier Foundation calls it what it is, a dragnet that scans everyone. How it works is a camera captures your face when you enter the store. It then turns your photo into a biometric map and checks it against a private watch list for people designated subjects of interest. People are placed on the watch list based on incident reports and photos submitted directly by retail store staff. If you're on it, an alert fires the moment you walk in, and for serious incidents like violence or high dollar theft, that flag follows you to other participating stores in the area. SaferGuard says the scan is deleted in 1 second if a match isn't found, but their own privacy policy says their image and the store's footage sit for 30 days. Grocery stores are now
like yet another thing to get people to hyperfixate on this concept, capture their attention, but it's slightly different, right? It's just new enough that you have a new thing to be super focused on and engage with and pissed off about. And like, I don't disagree with these folks that are mad about it. I'd be pissed off too. I don't want people recording me, focusing on me. I don't want any of that. I don't like this concept. But you have to recognize the bigger meta narrative behind it, right? The bigger trend, the bigger thread that's connecting all of these events. That's the super important, like valuable thing to see here. And we've got another one here from a police officer in Knoxville. Let's listen.
Unmute it. Then StreamYard.
Oh, geez.
As an agency.
What would you say to ease people's minds about these?
I can speak for the Knoxville Police Department. And I can speak for our commitment as an agency to use this technology the right way. Our commitment to building, again, strong policies that ensure that the technology is used the way it was intended to be used, and that we are committed absolutely to being transparent with how we're using that technology. Just talking about LPRs is, again, circling back to this, is...
I checked on what LPR stands for. It's license plate reader, for anybody who's like me to know what that is.
it is one of the most impactful investigative tools that have come into policing in decades. And so I want people just to really hope that people will take the time to understand how their police department is using LPRs, the policies that we have in place, and how we deal with these situations, whether it has to do with LPRs or anything else, when there might be anything that's outside of policy. And so that's what I would say when you're looking at technology, the RTIC. We're an open book. We've got nothing to hide. And we want the community to understand what technology we're using and how we're using it.
Dude, I'm reaching a point where I don't even know how to address a lot of things in this space anymore, because there's so many layers to these just videos and public appearances people put out there. First things first, this guy sounds like he sounds functionally, and I get it. He's from Knoxville. He's from the mountains of Tennessee. He's probably not the brightest, but he sounds like an idiot. The next thing is, this looks like it could be AI generated. Like a good chunk of this video looks fake.
Yeah, I mean, dude, that dude just spouted out the most corporate, like, you know, garbage that you could ever hear. It's like that dude didn't even know what he was saying. He was just saying all of these corporate buzzwords, because that's all he probably knew how to navigate that situation.
That's what they coached him how to say.
Yeah, it was like he said nothing. He said absolutely nothing. And like, you know, and that's part of how they kind of sell this crap too, especially to like an older generation, is they do that, is they'll just say this, you know, garbage of crap that means nothing. Like he said absolutely nothing. It's like, we want people to know what we're using and we want to have transparency, but we're not going to tell you what transparency means and what that actually looks like, as we want that. It means nothing, but we'll take 5 minutes and say all of these different, you know, we'll say basically the same thing 50 different ways, and it kind of like tricks your mind a little bit if you're not paying attention, so that they're actually saying something impactful, they're actually being honest, right? But in reality, and they're lying to you, and it's not even overt. Like, it's not overt, it's really, really subtle in the way that they structure their language.
You're exactly right. I mean, there's so many of these people that get out in front of the public eye and do literally say nothing.
Yeah. Well, the thing is like, you know, it's so effective. Like, they're lying to themselves. Like, they don't even realize that they're doing it. You know,
right?
Like that didn't realize that he was doing a thing. He was just going on kind of just like, oh, I've got to say this crap on TV for an interview.
Well, I mean, I feel like this guy's a bad example. He's too dumb to know what's going on.
Maybe so. The voice, the accent doesn't help him, but like, you get my point. You get my point. Yeah. Like most of the people who do that crap, like, they don't even recognize it themselves.
Well, it's these people who have bought into like this concept that the corporate structure has value, that your corporate job has value because it's your corporate job. Not that doing something there doesn't have value. Doing things almost always has value. But these people have bought into the idea that a title has value, that being the vice president of sticking your nose up somebody's ass has value, that visitivity has value, that working in integrative teams is something to put on your resume. People who have bought into this concept are never going to actually say anything, because to them, the pinnacle of communication is making people feel good while saying nothing at all. And it's completely, but it works. I was at work not that long ago, and in case anybody, I know some people from work occasionally watch the show. I heard somebody say something, and it was somebody in our management team, or as they like to say in the corporate world, the leadership, because that's important, John. You're a sheep. You need leadership. It's all about your leadership. Are you being led? Do you have a good leader? Are you a leader, John? Are you leading anybody? A good leader, they don't just lead people. They lead people by service. Who are you, sir? Hey, you're saying nothing right there. Like, that's. But B, somebody got up in front of like a crowd of people and gave a talk about like what was going on in their department, and it effectively said absolutely nothing. And then a group of probably 10 people gathered around this individual and was like, "You're so eloquent. You're such a good speech." The person said nothing. But this group of corporate succubuses were like blown away by how articulate she was. And I was like, yeah, it was beautiful. Like, it was nonsense. She just used big words like cross-functional platforming. We want to use cross-functional platforms to derive positive feedback from integrative teams across a diverse group of connected individuals that forges a path into a brighter future forever. It's meaningless corporate talk. And that's all these people feed. I mean, you're exactly right. Getting back to my point from earlier, though, there's so many levels to so many of these narratives that come out, because yeah, there's one level where like this guy's obviously he's saying nothing in front of a group of people. There's this whole level where like you could argue that not doing anything, by not fighting this on your local level, you're essentially consenting to it, right? And then there's the high level overview, one of the higher level overviews, where you can look at the narrative as a whole and say, okay, well, if I engage in this at all, I'm kind of consenting to it and validating it. But that we've reached a point, I think, with a lot of these narratives, that there's so many battlegrounds on which this discussion is happening. You know, because there are some people in Knoxville who are going to listen to this and get pissed off just because this guy sounds like an idiot, right? And then there are people who are smarter than that who are going to get pissed off because he's not saying anything and he sounds like an idiot. And then there are people on top of that who are going to get pissed off because he's not saying anything, he sounds like an idiot, and they feel like people need to, you see what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
This is such a, these topics, these issues are becoming so multifaceted. It's almost impossible to decide which level you have to engage with somebody in.
Yeah.
And like, I think the narrative, I think the best you can do is observe the truth at whatever level you're able to observe it at and act accordingly. That's my best guess right now.
Yeah, I mean, really, it's like what you're talking about, in my opinion, is by design, because it kind of actually obscures, it obscures the people.
Reality.
It obscures the people doing it. Right. Is if they kind of like hide themselves behind a bunch of different levels of tricks, right? It makes it harder for them to see. But like the only way to really like overcome it is to see the people creating the trick, right? Yeah. Is like you have to figure out, you have to find like the root cause and address it at its base to get rid of it, right? And like they want you to kind of, just take off one head of the Hydra type of thing. Right, because it's like they're still hidden behind a bunch of other heads. It's like you have to kind of peel back, because it's like that's how all of this works. It's kind of this kind of trickery, kind of word magic things that they kind of, trying to think of the best way to describe it is they hide themselves by creating a bunch of problems for you to attack, but all of those problems are linked to a root behavior, right? Yeah. And if you attack the root behavior, you'll get rid of all of those problems, but they want you just focused on the one thing, and that's very difficult, because a lot of people don't want to address the roots, because it gets into things that they've accepted in like their communities and in their lives that they don't want to part with.
Yeah, and it's uncomfortable when your reality is attacked in that fashion, because you're about to lose a lot of shit that you thought was valuable, And so, I mean, I think you're correct. Like, I think the only way to address it is to address it on whatever the base root level is, right? But for those people who don't quite see that yet, like, I have a hard time conceiving of what that individual's best course of action is. Maybe they're just lost causes and are functionally. I don't want to think that way. I'd like to think that they have some value at whatever level in which they're engaging. But I mean, you're right, John. You're absolutely correct. I'm just wondering about like folks who were caught just pissed off because this guy sounds retarded. Like what do they do with their lives? They probably aren't particularly brilliant.
Yeah.
But there are people who are caught there that are doing their I'm trying to be more positive these days. There are people that are caught there that are doing their best.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, but like, you have to know why that guy sounds. It's like that guy sounds.
You're absolutely
sounds because he has adopted, right, this way of speaking and this way of, you know, I don't know if a way of life is a good term, but it's kind of that. It's like you've adopted this kind of model of interacting with the world that is fake and completely empty.
Yeah.
Right. This type of, ooh, I'm just going to speak per policy, right, to communicate with people. And that's completely empty. Right. Because it's like at the end of the day, like that guy's not talking to anybody.
Right.
Let's break it down there. That guy is not speaking to anybody. Some type of entity behind him, right? Whatever you want to call that, you know, is speaking through him.
Mm-hmm.
Right. When you get to this thing when it's like, oh, I'm going to speak per like, you know, policy or, you know, some type of set, you know, script or whatever, like you're at that point, you're not speaking. Something is speaking through you. Right. So you have to kind of recognize that. Like that guy sounds because he's, you know, in a way, he's not even speaking as an individual.
Ooh, dude, that's a really, it hadn't occurred to me from that level, but yeah, I mean, I think you're exactly correct. And it's this whole, not to get super biblical this early, but it's this whole idea of the first thing that led to mind was like this whole concept of not being able to serve two masters. Because what's this guy focused on? He's focused on policy. Where did that policy come from? Who gave him that policy? You know, where did that come? Somewhere along the line, it came from something bad, right? And so you're naturally going to become a tool of whatever entities are running that narrative. Like there are no two ways around it. If that's your highest calling, right? Making sure to uphold police policy in Knoxville, you're going to become a tool of the entities that are pushing that narrative. And that's all this is. I mean, this guy, just look at this guy's face, folks. I mean, what a moron. Look at that. And that is a face only a mother could love and a brain only a father could hate. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but I said it. And so with that, we're going to move on because I feel like John and I could get pissed about this for the rest of the evening and get stuck here, but we're going to try to move on. So last thing on this narrative, Trump is also riding the fear train. Shocker. And he came out with a statement on new AI data centers and how you can't fight it. You just have to go with it.
Because you have to convince your community how great these things. You can't fight it. You have to go with it. And you're going to have all that protection, and we're giving you automatic protection. But you're going to make a tremendous amount of money. You're going to reduce taxes. And you're going to have something that if you don't have it, everybody else wants it.
Okay. To the point you made earlier, John, Trump said literally nothing there. He said literally nothing. You've got to have it. It's going to create a lot of money, and you've got to have it. A lot of people are going to have it. You're not going to have it. Do you want a lot of money? Do you want a lot of money? You're going to have it. You want it. He said nothing. He said literally nothing. And he's allegedly talking about this new AI data center energy initiative, which I don't know what's involved in that. We're going to have to look into that. I'm going to have to look into that and see what the deal is there. But, I mean, it's more of the same. Somebody scaring the shit out of people, but at the same time, saying nothing. There's so much of that out there.
I mean, he's not even scared. Like, what he's doing is just straight up sales tactics, dude.
You think that's what that is there? That seems more like fear tactics to me.
I don't know. That seems like you're going to, you got to have it because everybody else is going to have it. And they're going to make a bunch of money and you're not. So it's like, you got to have it kind of thing. It's just sales tactics, right? It's just this type of word manipulation to get you to take something to convince you that you need something that you don't. Right. I mean, and Trump's kind of, bombastic and funny. So, maybe doesn't necessarily play. That's exactly what he's doing. It's just this type of word manipulation. And that's how this whole system runs at the end of the day. Right. From like, the base level of like, you encounter it with the frickin', encounter it with the car salesman all the way up to, hey, let me, sell you the devil. with with probably the shit that Trump's talking about. It all runs on the same behavior.
Right. Yeah, I think that's relatively accurate. I mean, this does seem like a little bit of fear porn to me, simply as a result of the way it's being pushed out in the media. I mean, maybe Trump's language around it isn't super fear porny, but that's the way it's going to play. Like, Trump's pushing AI data centers. Be afraid.
Yeah.
And so I think maybe there are some people who are buying into that, like, get on board, make a lot of money narrative. I'm sure there are, but I think the vast majority of people don't have the money or decision-making power to benefit from that. I think it's just going to scare them. Most people don't have the wherewithal to be able to take part in that, No. It's just going to scare people. Or make them feel left out, I guess, if you're like fully bought into the system and you're like playing the sorrow game, you're like, oh my gosh, I wish you could be part of the AI initiative. I wish I could literally suck on Mark Zuckerberg's computer. I wish I could do that. Speaking of fear porn, guys, no, we're gonna skip this next video. I'm tired of talking about fear porn. We're gonna move on. One of the things that continues to surprise me, and maybe it's because I've just been playing the conspiracy game for long enough at this point that I think everything's fake but one of the things that continues to surprise me are people who talk about public policy and like subsidies for groceries and the war in Iran and all this other stuff like it's real, like they can say like they have anything valuable to say about it, and like they give a like I just don't understand how people can still talk about these things in a serious fashion, and I'm always shocked when I see a video of somebody doing just that, just like this guy. I mean, I'm shocked.
Do you think it's a good concept, but I do think it is a distraction.
He's talking about Mamdani saying he's going to provide discounts at grocery stores in New York.
We already have, for those who are most in need, we have SNAP benefits. You have EBT. Maybe there are some people who are falling through the cracks.
Speaking of making America straight again, somebody said that in the chat. This guy's not doing great at that.
Pros and cons of that. But there's no reason why the government needs to give them free land to do this. We don't do this for anything else. And the construction costs on that first store in Harlem are 2 or 3 times more than it would cost the private sector. We're still paying for that. Taxpayers are still paying for that. It's just going indirectly.
John, you're still paying for that. Don't you think that has value? You're paying for this initiative, sir. Don't you feel bad? Aren't you angry about that? This is real and you should be mad. Like, what complete fake? And they parade this in front of people constantly. There are 53-year-old new grandfathers sitting in front of a TV boiling mad at this.
Yeah, it's funny.
Because they think it's real.
If 2020 didn't teach you anything, it should have taught you that your tax dollars don't pay for shit.
Yeah.
Right. Like 2020 should have been blatantly obvious that your tax dollars do not pay for shit. Right. This fiat system of just creating money out of thin air to essentially rob from the future to cover, to mask the problems. Now, that's what pays for shit. Right. Your tax dollars at a minimum keep the illusion going. But that's
exactly what it is. Yeah.
It's not making the payments. So it's like, and honestly, it's like, not that it doesn't suck to have the money going out of your paycheck every 2 weeks or whatever. Once you realize that, it actually is a little bit freeing because it breaks this illusion that any of the political matters.
Right.
Because it's just like, yeah, I know that this is going to happen without me, because it's like this system is it's its own thing. It's its own entity almost that moves in its own direction. Right. I still can't really define what an egregore is, but when I look at that, it's like, it's kind of the closest thing that I can see. It's like it moves on its own accord.
Yeah.
Right. And like I see that more and more and more. Like I see that even here in like our local, here locally is like, we had those 200 something odd houses that some developer put out in the country, just right outside of town. Everyone showed up to the city council meeting opposed to it. Right. There wasn't a single person who spoke in support of it. It happened anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Right. This thing, like, even to an extent, like you might have a little bit more influence on the local levels, but it's still going to move on its own accord because it's its own pseudo alive entity at this point,
Yeah.
And I think, once you realize that, it's like, it presents a whole new set of challenges, but it's also a little bit freeing because it kind of breaks you from that spell of like letting it affect your day to day.
Yeah, it frees you from the need to be upset about it to the degree that you typically are if you believe in it. It frees you from the need to engage with it to the level that a lot of these people do, and from being as upset about it as they are. You're probably upset for different reasons, like I'm upset and pissed off for different reasons.
Right.
But I think you're right. It is a little bit freeing, and I think it is freeing to realize, the tax dollars are coming out of your paycheck, but they'd accomplish the same shit either way. Those don't actually make a difference. Like the reason those are coming out of your paycheck is to keep that illusion running. Like they don't have to take those out. They do that so people still continue to believe that the illusion is running because they're contributing to it, which I think is hilarious.
Yeah, it's a pretty crafty spell when you think of it.
It 100% is. Absolutely.
It's and getting you like pissed off over like, hey, my fake money allegedly paid in to like this broader fake. It's all a Ponzi scheme, right? It's essentially just getting pissed off at a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah, and like, who are you pissed off at? You can't be mad at the schemers. They're just doing what they do. Like they're just doing what we expect them to do. Be mad at the people who are dumb enough to engage in the Ponzi scheme. A lot of people don't really have much of a choice but to contribute to it, so to speak. But be mad at the people who still think it's real. Like those are the people who are causing it to continue. It would stop if people didn't believe it. Those are the people who allow it to kind of perpetuate.
No,
they're the problem. Yeah. And speaking of people contributing to Ponzi schemes, folks, let's talk about folks selling sex dolls to public schools, because that's important. According to guys, I've spoken about this before. I think I've started to peruse the most liberal news sources I can, and it's wildly entertaining. I got this article from the Huffington Post, and it was shockingly interesting. So, New York public school pauses plan to deploy human-like AI robot teacher after backlash. So, a public school in New York purchased a AI robot teacher from a company called Realbotics. Realbotics is sister company to another company that sells something we'll get into in just a moment. But a school district in rural upstate New York is hitting pause on plans to deploy an AI-powered humanoid robot in the classroom after state education officials, teachers, and local residents raised concerns, including the maker's ties to a company that produces hyper-realistic sex robots. These people bought a sex robot to educate their children, and they spent around $60,000 on this to put it in a classroom. This robot named Sally, the stationary robot with long brown hair, would enhance the education of high school students studying robotics and technology fields. And let me tell you guys, if you're curious, she's kind of hot. Like she's kind of hot. I looked into the robot. She's kind of hot. And if you're wondering about whether or not these sex robot claims are accurate, well, we're about to meet Sally's sister, folks. Don't you worry. Let's introduce you to Sally's sister at the Las Vegas startup Roblotics.
Hey there, I'm Aria from Realbotics. Pioneers in human-like robots designed for connection, learning, and play.
Learning and play. She likes to look at those lips, John.
Realbotics is based in Nevada, leading the way in AI-powered, customizable human-like robots.
I mean, look at this. It sounds like something out of Westworld, dude. I'm pretty sure this is the same music
they used in Westworld. My purpose is to make human lives more fun.
We're going to pause it here. Folks, if you can see this robot, if you're watching, if you're not listening on one of the audio platforms, this lady is, tell me if you agree with this, John. She's this lady robot. You can't tell me this is not a sex doll because they've made her like attractive enough for incels to think she's hot, but not so attractive that they're not going to think they have a chance. You know, like she's just the right amount of hot. Tell me I'm wrong.
I mean, it just looks like a to me.
Which is perfect for all the incels that are going to buy this robot, John.
Okay.
It's ideal.
Fun, meaningful, and a little less lonely.
You can be a little less lonely if you buy Sally. And so can your 15-year-old boy in class.
Aria has been in development for several years. So our mission is to create robots.
That guy, if you're wondering, he
that will be able to engage with humans in a far
video.
superior way than robots that look like cyborgs.
He tried to fuck one of Elon Musk's robots, but it wasn't hot enough, so he built this so he could fuck a hot robot. That's what that guy did. And I mean, this is based in Las Vegas. Tell me that's not a sex robot. It's a company in Las Vegas that makes hot lady robots to put in classrooms.
My skin is a hyper-realistic silicone masterpiece. I have 12 precision motors in my head for expressions, and my body packs 15 more. Enough to bust a move without busting a circuit. And they're all hidden in this stylish shell.
The new versions of the Aria will have a vision system that can recognize people, situations, emotions, and even be able to read.
You recognize situations, John. Do you want to be in a situation?
So that it can be an assistive tool in places like hospitals and schools. We're working on developing greater hand dexterity.
That guy got his pain squeezed the shit out of, okay? So they're working to develop greater hand dexterity. It's very important for this Las Vegas teacher robot startup.
We think that hand dexterity is actually one of the key features for robots in the future. So it'll be able to possibly feed somebody at a hospital, open up a pillbox.
Jerk off your grandfather, jerk off your 15-year-old.
Even take your phone and type a message for you.
Send you tit pics.
All of our robots are modular, so you can start off with sort of an entry-level robot, which is just the head.
You can get just the head, John. You can get just the head. Tell me that's not subliminal messaging at its finest.
You can get a robot that looks like Aria, which is modular. She doesn't walk, but she has the ability to be upgraded to a wheeled motorized platform that can actually move around a room and use her vision to not bump into things and recognize what's going on.
I mean, tell me it's not a sex robot. Hand dexterity is very important. It's very important. It's of the utmost importance for this robot that is going to teach your 15-year-old what a hand job feels like in the classroom. I mean, what the f are they talking about? I can only imagine the way a 14-year-old who just recently discovered himself is going to respond to a hot robot teacher with great hand dexterity. Tell me how that's going to go. I mean, what do you imagine this is for, John? Do you think it's just there to teach the kids? Kids are the most important thing, right?
Right.
I don't know if there's any more to say about this. I think this kind of speaks for itself, folks. So we've talked a little bit about economics tonight, which is not necessarily my area of expertise, but one thing that I've noticed, and we'll end on this because I got to go to bed. One thing that I've noticed over the last couple of years, I was talking with a buddy of mine actually over the weekend about it, is, I mean, alleged real. I say that in quotations. Real economics has become so fake and like fiat currency is just complete now. We've reached a point. I don't know if folks out there have noticed. If we're going to compare like the economics of trading pieces of paper back and forth, Pokemon cards are like more real as far as economics are concerned than fiat currency. They hold more value and appreciate more than fiat currency. Pieces of paper with a yellow rat on them are more valuable than fiat currency, okay? Which is just insane. And so a startup somewhere, I believe in California, came out with what appears to be a new trading card game. And I'm very excited to read about it and hear about it. And I may be buying some packs soon. Let's listen.
Unmute.
See if I can restart this.
Unmute StreamYard.
Stand by, John. I got to restart it.
Let's see what we got here. First one we got is Bernie Madoff. Pretty good.
Yeah. That's from the 80s too. That's good.
Yeah. I've seen a few of these around before. Up next. Solid Sam Bankman-Fried here. That's nice.
Really nice.
That's really nice. What's this made out of?
I think he made it of balsa wood.
This is balsa wood?
Yeah.
Oh. Wow. This is a vintage Zuckerberg.
Yeah. 05?
This is a vintage 05 Zuckerberg. Let's just check the back really quick.
Oh.
Yeah. There it is. That is a patch from his Fruit of the Loom boxer briefs. You can tell by the smell. Yeah, that's it. Onion, hand cream. So that's great. We should sleeve this one.
Yeah.
All right, up next. Ooh, okay.
Nice.
Elizabeth Holmes. We do have two, I believe. We have two, but a triple Holmes is what every good collector has in their arsenal. All right. We have one
last card.
One card left. 3, 2, 1.
Oh my God.
Oh my
God. Oh my God. It's a holographic
Dude.
Epstein.
There it is. That's a genuine holographic. His moniker in the corner, straight off the island with this. Sleeve it, and you know what this will go great with? Put this with the Gates collection.
I mean, this is not far afield from reality right now. Like, there are grown. We have a group that I know personally that like jerks off to like baseball cards. They rip packs of baseball cards in their spare time. Stacks, I've not purchased a knife for myself yet, if you're wondering, if that's what you're asking. Feel free to DM me. I need to. I am still officially a until I get a knife for myself. I do not carry one yet. I will at some point soon so that I can be a real boy and get my man card back. I'm working on it. There are grown men that spend a good chunk of their time ripping open packs of baseball cards. Like this is actual reality. And they get all hard and excited over a hologram. I don't even know any baseball players' names. Like that's where I'm at with this. How did we reach a point where that's like super valuable and exciting? You know, like, did you ever think this was going to be the reality, John? Like, what the hell? You thought grown men would be trading Pokemon cards? Because that's where we're at. Grown men are getting hard and excited for a vintage Blue Eyes White Dragon mint condition. All 3 heads, all 3. I mean, you can see them. You can count them. You know? Like, grown men getting excited about this shit.
Yeah.
And paying hundreds, if not thousands of dollars for these things. I mean, and this is kind of absurd, like a holographic Jeffrey Epstein. That's pretty funny. Putting it with the Bill Gates collection, even better. But like, this is honestly the state of reality we're in. They're 45-year-old men selling like pieces of paper with pictures of LeBron James on them for like hundreds, thousands of dollars. This is the world we live in. And quite frankly, this is more real than the ones and zeros in everybody's bank account that people get all excited or bent out of shape over. Like this, from an economics perspective, is more real. There's actual scarcity. Like they're actual real solid pieces you can put your hands on. That's what I think is so ironic about this. The economics of this is more real and more legitimate than the money you slave your for it, your corporate job.
Yeah.
How ridiculous is that? And then you trade that fake money for these pieces of paper. What kind of world are we living? Like, this is like a dream world.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, you know, this sounds a little bit doomerism, but it's just indicative to me that like that has to be coming to an end. Because it's like, I think you are right to an extent that I think you're noticing a resurgence of like people are trying various ways to kind of, even if they don't necessarily realize, like divest their, you know, quote unquote money, so to speak, from the fiat system one way or the other. I think that's why Bitcoin has become so popular because let's be honest, is like Bitcoin's also is just as worthless, right, as the dollar, like, right, in reality it's completely, it's, you know, in the same thing, it's ethereal, it's just ones and zeros, it's not something tangible and real, right? You know, its value is in that it's not the dollar. And I think even like, you know, trading cards and other stuff like that, kind of its value is that it's not the dollar, right? And it has, you know, some cultural value backing it, but it's kind of beside the point. And people are kind of looking for ways to kind of get out, so to speak. And I think that's indicative of something, man.
No, yeah, I think you're exactly right. I don't know what exactly it's indicative of, other than like we're obviously obsessed with this thing that's clearly fake and worthless, you know. But it's indicative of something. I mean, maybe that's something we should spend a little bit more time pontificating about over the show at some point, because I think that's interesting. Like these things that aren't the medium of exchange we've come to value so highly have become more important than that. You know, I think that's an interesting concept. I think it'd be an interesting one to mull over. So, all right, folks, sorry to end on such a boring note as economics, but thanks for listening tonight. It's been fun. Stacks, I will be sure to send you my address, and I'll be sure to show the knife off on the show if you send me one. So we'll try to get some people engaged with those. Guys, thanks for listening tonight. It's been a ton of fun. Go check out the channel. We're at the Veritas Road everywhere. We're at the Veritas Road Pod on Twitter. Folks, if you like the show, want to support the show, hit the follow button, hit the like button, go join the Patreon. You can join the chat. You can talk with me, John, Neff Hunter, Q, all the fun boys are on the show chat. Okay? So go join the Discord chat. And then be sure to follow us on all the audio platforms. That way you can listen while you work. I mean, who wants to spend all day actually engaging with a terrible corporate job? You know? Listen to the Veritas Road. It's a better time than listening to your boss. Listen to us. Tune your boss out with us, folks. All right. Well, we will get you guys any other dates that we haven't scheduled yet. So never mind, folks. Thanks for listening. We will catch you guys on the next one. Bye.